All right.
Oh my god!
Isn't
Where
this
the fuck did all the brainwaves go?
There wasn't that many there.
Oh my god!
Sorry, just it could be one of the first arguments down Round's hat. We've normally been sort of on the same page, but when we sat down to record today, Raf placed down a bowl. I don't remember what was in that bowl. I reckon there were about 4 grain waves.
Oh, I feel like there was 5 or 6.
Four chili flavored grain waves. 5 or 6 chili flavored grain waves. Some plain Doritos.
Yeah, something like that.
Or something like that. And 2 Ferrero Rochers.
Yeah, which I'd eaten one.
You'd eaten one. I'm having one now. While you were in the bathroom, I did have a few grain waves.
There are 0 grain waves remaining.
But we were coming from a very low base. A very, very low base.
You should have eaten 50% of the grain waves.
I should have, you're right.
Okay. Today, new richest man on earth alert. New richest man on earth. And unfortunately, I have to say man.
Well, you know, one day.
Yeah. One day, hopefully soon.
Who's going to get up there?
I reckon maybe Elizabeth Holmes might be our first.
If Elizabeth Holmes can get out of prison and become the richest person on earth, fair play to her.
I just think she's got the chutzpah
She
required.
does. She does have the killer instinct, I think. Actually, you know what? I agree with you. Once she gets released from prison, I'm not sure what her term is for defrauding.
Well, they've given her a phone. She's tweeting.
I don't think she's tweeting though. I think she's relaying messages to people.
Yeah,
who are
that
then
kind of tweeting. Yeah.
She's a, you know, but I feel like her killer instinct and her desire to accumulate is such that once she gets out of prison, if like the US government doesn't put barriers on her commercial activity, she will become the richest person on earth. So I think it's a good bet.
Thank you.
The other one is maybe Mackenzie Bezos.
Yeah, well,
because
she's giving it away.
She's giving it away, but she may instead of giving it away to philanthropic causes, what if she puts it in an index fund? And she suddenly has gone from $70 billion.
What if she puts it in SK Hynix and Micron?
Exactly. She could put it in South Korean semiconductor support businesses, like a couple of podcasters you might have heard of.
Put in some DRAM, some high bandwidth memory. And
Anyway,
you know what? Look at this charts. Look at the charts, Mackenzie.
look at the charts, folks. It's looking pretty good. There's no philanthropic value. No one's getting fed. No one's getting housed. No one's getting clothed. But you're making bank. You're making bank on the AI boom.
Anyway, we're talking about the new richest man on the planet.
We're talking about Larry Ellison.
Larry Ellison. He's actually not the CEO. I think he's technically the CTO of Oracle, but also like the founder of Oracle.
Founder of Oracle. He's always been in like the top 3, 4, or 5 richest people on earth.
And we're going to get later on in the show, we're going to talk about Elon's new pay package, which is relevant. You know, he's got a potential $1 trillion pay package on the table. Obviously, there are some caveats to that. We're going to talk about that later. What else are we going to talk about? You took notes.
I'm going to read the notes that I read. I'm not going to show if we're going to get to all this stuff. And, you know, if anything appeals to you here, you're going to have to subscribe to our premium membership because you have God knows which ones we're going to get to.
I think all of them, but I can't promise that. Go
on the free one. We're also going to talk about the OpenAI, Microsoft. They've reevaluated their deal. They've redone their deal. There's some TikTok ban watch.
Oh, yeah. Continues, yeah.
These last 2 ones I'm not sure about. One of them is Apollo Go.
Oh, yeah, that's the Chinese EV company, yeah.
Chinese EV company.
Owned by ByteDance, yes, go on.
Great, okay. And the other one is Netflix Boxing.
I mean, the boxing was just on Netflix. Yeah, we'll get to it.
It's on the list. I don't think either of us have anything to say about that.
I've got some things to say.
So, yeah. if you're considering hitting the button and subscribing to Dan Rand Premium on the basis of that story, I'm not sure you should do it. But
okay, but up the top, we are talking about Oracle. We're talking about Larry Ellison, the new richest man on the planet, because Oracle stock
pumped.
It pumped. The database company, like 40% basically.
Yep.
No, it was like 33%, then another 7% after hours, something like that. Oracle. We've talked about Oracle a bit. I don't know if we've done a full episode on Oracle. We may have. We can't remember. And we didn't look it up. But
And
we've
sorry,
talked
just-
about them a bunch with regards to TikTok.
Just to be clear, in terms of like pumping 40%, this is a business. I mean, after the pump, its market cap is $858 billion US.
Yes.
So we're not talking about a penny stock.
No.
This is one of the biggest companies on earth.
No. We're not talking about like, a couple of hedge funds decided to have a bet. It's like somehow around $350 billion worth of capital flooded into this company.
Yeah.
And by the way, on the basis of quarterly results where they missed earnings. They missed what people were hoping that they'd achieve.
Yes. But the projections on the basis of mysterious customers
Yes.
were shockingly high.
Okay, let's talk about what's going on here. Okay, bit of background. Oracle. A lot of you would know who Oracle are. A lot of you wouldn't, which is fine, or you've heard them and been like, I have no idea who they are. Why do the boys keep making jokes about them buying TikTok? Which is also reasonable because if you're a normal person,
You would not think about Oracle.
you
that
would
often.
not ever think about Oracle. If you're like a normal person who's not anywhere close to kind of like code or databases, then you wouldn't have heard it.
Oracle is a database company.
They're a database company. They're an old database company. So this is the most of their stock is pumped in a single day since 1992.
Yeah.
Which tells you something.
Tells you something. Formed in the 1970s by Larry Ellison,
Who is now 81.
who was 81 years old.
The richest man in the world, 81. Maybe that's how it should be. You know what? It's not. The richest person in the world, in my opinion, should be 34 years old with 3 kids.
Let's reward that.
Yeah. Not hoarding the money and the property when you're 81 and no longer need it anymore.
I don't think he looks 81, by the way.
He doesn't.
I
But,
rec-
money will do that.
But I reckon he looks 75. Like a weird 75.
Like a 75-year-old who goes to the beach heap, like a Bondi kind of 75, like a leathery 75.
If you spend any time at Bondi Beach on a weekend, you will see guys.
Or a weekday.
Actually, at any time, you can go there right now and you will see this guy. We're talking. It's 8:44 p.m. We're talking about guys who, I actually,
and women.
and women. There's plenty of them.
Women like this.
One of my aunts is very much like this. And also, I think this is like, there's an affinity between Australia and California. I think Florida, Australia, California are sort of like the hotspots for this kind of stuff, which is white people that kind of look like handbags
It's
because they've spent their whole life against biology in the sun at the beach,
Yeah.
exercising.
yeah,
And that's what Larry Ellison looks like.
yeah. He's one of them.
He's one of those guys. He's had some work done. His face looks all fucked up. But virtually every major company in government runs on his software.
Yes. So again, quick recap because we don't need to spend a lot of time on it. Databases, spreadsheets. We're talking about spreadsheets basically.
It's relational databases.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It's like a spreadsheets with a bunch of tabs. There's a way to think of it if you don't know what a database is. That's basically what it is. Google Sheets with just like heaps of different tabs, kind of. And there's columns in each of the tabs that relate to each other. So you can kind of link them.
It's a bit more, but that's kind of the vibe. Yeah.
That's the vibe.
And the entire economy runs on it.
Yeah, but so Oracle was very early to like every company was like, well, we need a database. We need someone to store data in a manner that we can look it up. And so they all ran on Oracle on premises. Within their business, they had a bunch of computers, racks and racks and racks of computers that had Oracle databases kind of installed on them, is a way of thinking them. They stored all their customer data, sales data, God knows, whatever it is, on Oracle databases. Great. The cloud happens. Everyone's like, instead of me running my own computers and, paying for the electricity and a bunch of nerds to connect them all together and dealing with all of that, in fact, actually, like, it might be better if we pay Amazon to do it for us.
Yep.
And so all of those computers are someone else's problem, and we just rent them out. We
Cloud.
pay the cloud, folks. It's called cloud computing. Amazing, incredible. Oracle, during the cloud, they were late to the cloud.
Yep.
That's basic internet history. Oracle were late to the cloud. There's certainly no one who was starting from scratch was going and buying a bunch of probably Cisco friggin' routers and this and installing Oracle software. Like if you had a startup in 2010, you're not doing that.
Or now, frankly.
Obviously.
Yeah.
No one is going and buying a bunch of servers to start like hosting your own website and your own apps on your own computer and having that hooked up to the internet for people to access it.
Yep.
You obviously run it somewhere else. Amazon was kind of first to be like one of the big hyperscalers. Obviously, there were a bunch of small ones at the time. Hyperscalers, we talk about them all the time. Big ones being obviously Amazon, Microsoft, and even Microsoft were a little slow because people were using Microsoft, but Azure, the cloud after, and then Google is like in third place. There's a bunch of other ones, obviously.
There are, yep.
But
and now Oracle.
But now Oracle. They were late to the cloud. Basically, the criticism was, and I think we probably mentioned this a few years ago, probably on one of the first TikTok ban watches when we brought up Oracle, was their customers in the cloud are people who still had Oracle on-prem, and then they offered a service to go like, we'll just move your on-premises, like your computers that you have that you're holding on to, we'll basically hold on to those computers and we'll just switch you over. And you don't have to do too much. Moving everything from your Oracle on-premises to Amazon is a huge fucking job.
Yeah, because
completely redoing your database.
We're talking about, and like, the marquee clients for a company like Oracle are businesses like, JP Morgan.
Yeah,
or
whatever, Nissan.
The US Department of Agriculture.
Yeah.
Or like, companies with an unbelievable amount of data who have been running it on Oracle systems since the 1970s.
That all different parts of their organization are kind of plugged into in different manners.
And you could imagine that when Amazon Web Services and AWS were hot shit and being like, actually, you can run all stuff on the cloud, you can imagine they would walk into a business like JP Morgan back then and be like, hey, we can run all this stuff. And JP Morgan's like, no, you couldn't, because that would be the most hellish project ever devised to move it all over.
Yeah.
And the moment we did, we would be probably violating 900 US statutes.
Yeah.
So we're not going to fucking do that.
Yeah.
And so Oracle, I mean, technically, Oracle has added a whole bunch of different stuff. And as people say, the argument for their ongoing existence is that they are way more, there's a density of features for things like compliance and stuff that are harder to get off the ground with something like AWS or Google Cloud or Microsoft Azure. I'm not sure I fully buy that, but I probably buy it to some extent.
But it's more of a lift and shift. If you're going from Oracle on-prem to Oracle in the cloud,
yeah.
Even though they were super late, like that was a large part of their business, but they also faded into irrelevancy for that same reason. Also,
but on the other side, like Oracle supports all sort of multi-cloud stuff. They work in environments where a giant business might have some area of the business that is on AWS.
Yeah, and they do point of sale stuff, right? And ERP stuff. There's kind of other things.
They have a whole bunch of plugins and different products and whatever. But the fact of the matter is, if you are a startup today and you're building, I don't know, whatever, a company to use AI to analyze people's pets' shitting habits and turn that into actionable spreadsheets for product purchasing.
Mm-hmm.
There's an idea for you. I'm not going to pursue it, but if anyone heard that, you are not. Oracle is so far down the list of companies that you would engage for that.
Yeah.
It would not even come up.
No.
You would immediately go, oh, we'll run that on AWS, we'll run that on Google Cloud, we'll run that on Microsoft Azure. And then, so there's those three, and then fucking right down in hell.
Yeah, if you're really like edgy, you're like, what about a Cloudflare kind of cloud runny thing? We can do some like
we might
interesting things here.
We might try something really strange. We're not going to Oracle.
No.
Which is like the equivalent of, I'm not even going to attempt to come up with an equivalent, but it's basically, it's completely alien to that decision.
Yeah.
So they have all these legacy clients who are going to keep paying them until the heat death of the universe.
Yeah.
Because as we said, ripping Oracle out of those businesses will destroy the company and possibly the global economy.
Exactly.
It's just not going to happen. And those companies can never not pay Oracle billions of dollars a year.
Yeah. So why is Oracle all of a sudden pumped something like 40%? The reason is they did, Larry, 81-year-old Larry, leathery Larry, leisure suit Larry.
Leisure suit Larry. Yeah.
He's back, folks. Leisure suit Larry. He went for something. He was doing a thing. So you'll know also the other current paradigm, obviously, is that the entire AI stack runs on NVIDIA. And I have to do a little bit of background here. So NVIDIA offer a few things. People think, obviously, the number one thing is, and I will always call them this, graphics cards.
Graphics cards, yep.
GPUs. And people are trying to make a play at like not calling them GPUs.
Wrong.
You know, accelerated computing and stuff. No. These things are, they're fucking graphics
They're fucking graphics cards. Respect your elders.
Exactly.
Respect where you came from.
Point being, accelerated computing, quote unquote, AI happens on NVIDIA's GPUs. NVIDIA, and Jensen has been pushing this hard, NVIDIA does more than just GPUs now. Like if you're buying into NVIDIA, they also offer, like you need a shitload of these things. You need a shitload of graphics cards, you need a shitload of GPUs. So NVIDIA have to offer networking. On top of that, you actually need like, whilst most of the computations are happening in GPUs in parallel processing, which is what GPUs are good for, NVIDIA's things are good for, you still need a CPU, you still need a classic processor, or sometimes, you know, people call them like what did Apple call them? The neural
engine.
Yeah, the neural engine. That was also just like a version of a CPU, not a GPU, a CPU that kind of managed the processes and the tasks. You still need that. NVIDIA offer one of them. They offer networking. They offer like NVLink is the new thing, or newish thing, that where you can connect a bunch of these things together. My point being, they offer the entire stack, the entire thing. Like you can just use NVIDIA GPUs and then tie them into whatever, an AMD CPU or a different thing, or you can even use them with like Google's TPUs and this, that, and shit. I'm saying a lot of PU kind of words, and Jensen does say is like, you can use us in a modular setup, but it's even better if you use us in an integrated setup. And that's, to be frank, like if you're a Google who has TPUs, if you're an Amazon, they have their own accelerated computing inference chip or whatever. Microsoft have their own, etc. You know, NVIDIA is saying like, you can use just our graphics card and then plug it into your system, or you can use our full thing. This is the key thing. Oracle said, we will buy all the NVIDIA stuff, all of it, all linked up, shove it in a warehouse, just NVIDIA stuff. If you want to use it, you can pay us to use it. That is very, very valuable to, and this is the crux of what we're getting at. Oracle announced, yes, sure, they missed earnings on the latest one, but they have a big customer.
Huge customer.
A huge customer who's committed $300 billion over the next 5 years to use our warehouses full of NVIDIA metal. You know, there's no software on top of this. You know, it's whatever. It's like, you do what you want with these NVIDIA GPUs. And that customer goes by the name, they didn't announce this, but it was obvious, of OpenAI.
Yeah. OpenAI needs compute, need chips, and Oracle realized we can be the people to provide them. And as you said, Oracle, yes, they have a million things. They have like a vague cloud computing business or whatever, but it's not what this is about.
No.
The whole idea is we have a warehouse full of NVIDIA chips that we've bought, as you said, that's got every little bit of NVIDIA vertical integration you could possibly want. It's sitting right there, and you can pay us above cost to use them.
Exactly.
Because we've acquired them. OpenAI, who needs all the compute they can get at any point, we're like, yeah, absolutely, we'll take that.
Yeah,
to keep feeding the beast.
And this is like vaguely part of Stargate.
Yeah, it's
Project Stargate stuff. And also like there is this kind of symbiotic relationship with NVIDIA, because it's like, as I said, everyone's buying NVIDIA. We've said this forever, for years. Everyone still needs NVIDIA chips. They're still the best, and they will be for a long time. And yeah, Amazon, Microsoft, Google in particular can use their own things for inference, their TPUs, their own chips. So what that means, though, is they're competitors to NVIDIA in a way. It's like they are basically still, they need NVIDIA, but they're like, they're competitors. They don't want to use NVIDIA. We've said this a million times. Anytime these big companies see someone taking 80% margins, they become competition.
Yep.
And they literally are competition. They're making their own chips. Whereas Oracle is like, we're not doing that. We're not competing with NVIDIA at all. We're not trying to make any fucking chips.
Yeah, we're never going to do that.
We're never going to do that. We will just keep buying your shit. And so it's kind of in NVIDIA's interest to be like, we have the supply constrained. Everyone wants these chips. There's a waiting list a mile long for all of their stuff. If they can give it to Oracle, who are never going to be a competitor, ahead of Google, ahead of Microsoft, ahead of Facebook, even making them ahead of Amazon, then it's kind of in their interest to be like, Oracle's got the most compute.
Yep.
if you want compute, go to Oracle. And if Oracle need more, they might just be at the top of the list, when it comes to kind of getting more compute. Anyway, point being, though, the mere fact that Oracle said, we got $300 billion from OpenAI coming in, meant that their stock pumps 40% and Larry Ellison becomes the number one richest man on the planet.
Yes, and part of that dynamic comes down to something you said at the pub before we recorded this episode, that everyone is always looking for a way to get, in some way, some abstracted way, exposure to OpenAI, which is a private company that you can't invest in. One way to do that is like, if there's a company that's tying their fortune to OpenAI and is like, clinging onto the rocket ship, we can bet on them. We did it with South Korean data center hardware. That's
true. We did. SK Hynix and then Micron is American, but SK Hynix, yes, we did. I think we've mentioned this before. I think it was kind of a Buffett-esque move.
It's highly Buffett-esque.
So Warren Buffett obviously bought insurance companies. The amount, the float, the money that was sitting there, he used to invest in other businesses. Down round, your annual subscriptions. We did not just spend the money. The float of your, you might have, if you've just paid for your annual subscription, some other foolish podcaster might have just withdrawn that 12 months.
And spent on God knows what. No.
Not us. We only banked the 1 month and we have 11 months float. And what we did is, with your 11 months float or equivalent, is put it in a highly risky exotic futures on the South Korean stock exchange into SK Hynix. It just so happens that stock has pumped 80% since then.
We're doing well, folks. But,
not a stock picking podcast. Just when we have mentioned stocks to pick,
they've done pretty well. But all I'm saying is there are people who are less sophisticated than us and investors who might, like cavemen, go Oracle, OpenAI.
Yeah.
I want OpenAI. Why not invest in Oracle?
Yeah.
Because, again, yes, it is clearly a big part of their strategy going forward is being essentially a data center, a neutral territory arms dealer that is not tied up in, as you said, all this weird stuff where it's like every other provider, every other hyperscaler has their own shit going on.
Yeah.
Oracle's like, we make databases, we have a shitload of money, we're building data centers full of NVIDIA hardware. You need more compute than exists on Earth right now. Come with us.
Yeah.
Sam Altman, come with us. You can spend, as $300 billion US dollar contract over, what is it, like 4 years? 5 years?
So $60 billion a year.
That is a lot of money. It's a huge amount of money.
Well, so $60 billion a year, OpenAI's current revenue, and don't get me wrong, their revenue is growing, it's flying, but is like annualized, like from July, is about $12 billion. To people who are on Bubble Watch, which we've been, so OpenAI are committing $60 billion a year to Oracle. That's, they're currently only making $12 billion. Yes, they've got more money than God being thrown at them, and they have ways to raise that money, and they obviously will raise that.
Forget about that. Imagine you lived in a share house, right? And the total annual salary of your share house between, let's say, the three people that live there is $180,000. You're all doing pretty well for yourself. The rent is $9 billion a year.
Yeah, that's one way of thinking of it. And then we go down a level, and Oracle are committing to buy, $100 billion of graphics cards.
Yeah.
There's like this whole machine relies on the continued demand growing at a significant upwards angle.
There's some plates being spun here, folks. There's some
to the tune of hundreds of billions.
There's some demand that's being ping-ponged around. Everyone's taking their $100 billion and passing it to the next guy in an endless circle. And a reasonable person might look at that and say, the party surely has to stop. Well, I mean, two outcomes either happen. An unbelievable change to the global economy such that it is completely unrecognizable. Money ceases to exist. We colonize the cosmos. Human beings get uploaded to the cloud. We achieve godhood
Yep.
through the computer.
Yeah. I'm gonna give that 49% chance.
49% chance and 51% chance.
And the hype doesn't live up to expectations.
It all falls to shit in the next 18 months. So I don't know. If you listen to Down Around, you must be a betting man. You have to pick one of those outcomes. This is a roulette.
It's a binary outcome, folks.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
So,
I mean, look, there is a middle path. That is the Down Round path.
yeah, exactly.
So, you know, we keep
figure it out.
we keep kind of pitter pattering along. Nothing ever changes. You know,
I think the Down Around path is like you pump ungodly amounts of money into this thing. A bunch of people will fall apart. There could be a correction, could be multiple corrections. A bunch of people who've spent their life's work on this are going to be forced into destitution. But the beauty of the American system is that you declare bankruptcy and you get right back at it.
yeah, exactly.
So, you know, don't worry about it. It's okay. We'll figure it out. We'll muddle through.
We'll muddle through. I think the muddle through is literally like pretty much been our perspective on almost everything. Like TikTok, and we'll talk about TikTok ban watch potentially, but like, actually, I'm gonna claim a dub right now.
Okay.
I think our opinion on TikTok ban watch always, because remember there were hard deadlines. There were, you know, March 2023 or God knows what. Like, it's either
TikTok
sold or it's not. And our opinion was, I think it'll just muddle through.
And
like,
it did.
And then there was another hard deadline. We're like, I reckon we'll muddle through. AI, our perspective has basically been the same. Like, yeah, it's going to change some things, but we'll muddle through.
We'll muddle through. And that's been human history. There's never been a time in history where we haven't just been like, well, you know, the odds are against us. You know, they say that logically none of this can work. People are pretty ingenious. They figure the stuff out.
Yeah, there was probably you probably had about a 30-second period where it was a genuine debate. And that was when there was a large meteorite about to hit Mexico and you're a dinosaur. And you're like, one of them would have been like, we're fucked. And the other one was like, I reckon we'll muddle through. And that was the only time ever in history, in recorded history, and that wasn't recorded, but we just think that the muddle through person was wrong.
But guess what? Guess what? I got to stop you right there.
If you're a cockroach,
no.
right. If the muddle through was right.
Most of the dinosaurs were killed when that asteroid crashed, but one branch of them muddled through and became every bird that exists on Earth right now.
As I said, if you were a roach or a spider back then and you were having that same debate, the muddle through won.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you were like, if you're a T-Rex, sorry, brother, you're gone. For the next 65 million years, there's going to be 8-year-old boys who are just distraught by the fact that you're gone. But I'm going to become a chicken and I'll be fucking fine. So even when the asteroid is coming down, just note that like someone somewhere is going to figure it out.
Anyway, point being, because he decided to buy a bunch of NVIDIAs, and NVIDIA was like, that sounds good, having like one of the biggest buyers of NVIDIA not being competition to us, who has a direct link to OpenAI. Leisure Suit Larry is the richest man on earth. So now you know why.
Sure, and to sort of close the loop, and I guess this comes back to modeling through, it's that like, if you are a business that comes to be producing, like, to be that valuable and that entrenched in a range of corporate entities and government entities as Oracle, it's pretty fucking hard for you to lose.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard for you not to be able to be like, most SaaS businesses, which like Oracle is kinda, in an early sense, even though, yes, they started on-prem and now they're cloud and whatever. But a lot of businesses where you become an insanely big expense in like a range of other businesses.
It's going to take a long time to unseat you.
It's going to, because you can't be ripped out. You know, even...
We talk about with Jira, you know.
Jira, Atlassian is a big one. A big one now, actually, it's a business that I've become really fascinated with, is ServiceNow.
Yeah.
So to give like a...
We've talked about this for years as well.
Yeah.
I find it the most painful company in the world.
It's an incredibly painful company, and the pain point. So to give this is because I just think it's interesting, and hopefully you will as well. ServiceNow's entire business was figuring out like, okay, the whole digitization thing happened. Like companies went into a whole bunch of digital systems for everything, from setting up employees' emails to like figuring out which scanners for door codes in the offices to like Microsoft Office to like
towards like with internally people having to ask legal for advice.
Yeah, exactly. Like everything is digital. There are a million different platforms. Some of them are like big SaaS businesses. Some of them are run on like a server under some IT guy's desk in some regional office. And
so payroll might be its
payroll is some other company, whatever. ServiceNow was like, you're never going to be able to replace all that with one solution. We will just be the fucked up octopus that connects everything through APIs and shit. And we can give you some nice dashboards to read. You don't have to worry about one solution. All your idiots can have all their different things. We're just going to make it all talk to each other. And that's like an $80 billion company now or more, I think.
I think it's more. It's like 200 billion. Let's get the actual facts.
Let's pull it up. We'll pull it up.
It's fucking insane. ServiceNow has always been insane. Yeah, it's $200 billion.
$200 billion company. And again, they figured out the same thing Oracle did. Once you are the octopus that connects everything, you can literally never be removed.
I remember I've been at a bunch. Was at a company that used ServiceNow. I used it a bunch. It was a clunky way to ask different parts of the organization to do things, and then you'd have conversations and comments on the kind of project thing in ServiceNow. And I was working in marketing. I was in a managerial role in marketing, and the form for other people in the organization to kind of brief in marketing was like a bit convoluted. We wanted to change it, and so messaged our digital team, was like, hey, just want to change some things on ServiceNow on the ticket. Just, change the form. Pretty simple thing. Some drop downs, what are you trying to achieve? This, that, and the other. And they're like, oh, okay, we'll set up a meeting with the ServiceNow rep. Get into a meeting, and there are like 8 people from ServiceNow. And I was just like, I just wanted to change these elements of the form, the marketing briefing form. They're like, okay, cool. We'll scope that out for you. And they're like, they're writing things down piece by piece. So they're doing like a full fucking PRD, like, requirements document. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I thought, I've used Google Forms, Microsoft Forms, you can just kind of spin it up, whatever. And then they're like, here's the quote. And it was tens of thousands of dollars of development work in order to just like change some like form fields.
That's the dream, folks. You need to be so locked in to a business, get your claws in, like one of those things where it's like a thing that pops in and just like the blades shoot out and you're stuck in, that you become a $200 billion company.
Yeah, like a cat's penis.
Like that's what I was thinking. Folks,
that's what you want. Lock you so that if someone's like, can we add a kind of a drop down menu here? It's like, that's going to cost you $35,000.
$35,000. I'm telling you right now, and 8 people figured that out. Okay, folks. Well, I hope you gleaned something about Oracle from there, but they're pumping, they're exploding, and they've made the bet. That's the role that they're going to play in the AI era, supplying some hardware and dusting their hands of anything that's like too hard.
Yeah. But official down round position on not financial advice or not is, I'm not prepared to say Oracle is a buy.
No,
I reckon keep just not financial advice. Keep piling into SK Hynix, folks.
SK Hynix. Keep an eye on Leisure Suit Larry. And before I will say that Salesforce have kind of done the same thing. Like, we're not spending any money on this crazy AI shit. We're just doing like weird implementation stuff.
Yeah.
Let's not worry about the.
Well, he's super big on agents thing. Actually, well, we haven't talked about this on the pod, so it's a good moment at the very end of an episode and slightly unrelated to bring it up. Like, so the Salesforce stuff, they're big on agents and like, he's talking about employees or whatever. There is this weird dichotomy, or not even dichotomy, but this weird situation, and maybe we did bring it up in the Jira thing. Companies that charge by the seat, like Atlassian, like Salesforce or whatever, and Salesforce is trying to kind of change their business model, where they go like, and a bunch of the AI companies do this, where it's like, actually, we want to charge for kind of the value that we derive.
Yeah.
I will give a shout out here to what's Steve Hines' thing?
Lorikeet.
Where it's like we charge by the closed ticket, like when we sort out a ticket. My point is, in a world where you're spruiking like we're going to use, customer service agents to replace your people, per seat licensing doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like if you're a Salesforce or whatever, or a Jira where it's like, or even Microsoft Office, where it's like you pay $100 per person who uses your software, then if you're also saying we make agents who do work instead of employees, that business model doesn't match up.
Yeah.
You're losing per seat licensing fees. So there's a weird thing there.
No, and I think if you even think about it economically, there's also the fact of if we get to the point where AI agents are actually good at doing something,
which for the record, like feels a long way off.
Exactly. Like the more I think about it and the more I see them functioning, I'm like, yeah, we're getting further. This is not 8 months away. This is 4 years, 5 years away.
Yeah.
But I don't know, whatever. But you get to the point where they're completing lots of tasks and like, you're paying a company to run them and they've got 1 million AI agents, processors or whatever, working on behalf of your thing. It becomes harder and harder to be like, how do you define what's one seat, what's one thing?
Yeah.
You have to start thinking about charging per outcome.
Yeah.
Something that people could really like grab onto and be like, okay, you have provided X to me. Because I agree with you, this idea of, all right, you want one Photoshop license, you want one Atlassian license, you want one whatever. We were already moving away from that as like these SaaS businesses became more complex and did all different sorts of automated things. But yeah. Anyway, that was a really long way. We were about to finish. I could tell you were about to hit the skip button on your podcast to listen to whatever else, and we kept talking. Anyway, we're going to move to our premium episode now.
Hell yeah.
So if any of the topics that we raise at the top of the episode were interesting to you, I'm not going to repeat them. You can go.
I am. Elon Musk, $1 trillion pay package, boxing and Netflix, and then something weird in the middle.
TikTok
Bandwatch. Yeah, of course.
And there might have a Chinese EV company. Again, I would not click through if that's what you're looking for. Anyway, but if you're interested in subscribing to Down Round Premium, you get an extra episode every single week. You get to hear us keep talking for another half an hour to an hour, depending on how motivated we are. You just got to go to downround.net. You can subscribe via our memberful page, and then you have access to that. You also have access to a Discord, very lively platform where all sorts of different people get into it.
Yes, including me and you. We're on there.
We're on there. We're on there. I know Discord has been catching some strays of late due to it being sort of a place where terrorist activity is organized. Never in the Down Round Discord.
That we know of.
And we disavow it. We completely disavow it if that's what's happening.